Everyone enjoys getting out on the town for some live music. And there's nothing like going backstage and down the hall for a VIP pass to the inside information and interviews with the bands, singers, and songwriters that you enjoy. Welcome to Hall Around Town Radio's Backstage Hall Pass, a showcase of homegrown talent, mixing independent music with personal interviews and a behind-the-scenes look at our music community. Backstage Hall Pass is your front row center seat to some great conversation with the area's most talented artists. Whether you like rock, blues, folk, country, or R&B, Backstage Hall Pass delivers you a daily dose of the stories behind the music. And now, here's the host of our show, Scott Hall.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the program. This is Hall Around Town Radio's Hot Topic Tuesday, as we're calling it now. It's part 2 of an exciting episode we did last week, talking about bands getting booked and how they should approach the venues and such. Last week, we had the lovely Karis join us, and she had some wonderful things to say from the venue owners' standpoint. And I'm trying to get some stuff up and running here on the old screen. Give me just a moment, and we'll make sure we have that going. And I want to make sure you know that I've got some special guests with me today. So without any further, I'm going to bring these special guests into the show if I can. And for some reason, I'm not getting notified we're live. That's what I'm screwing with here, people. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. There we go. We're live. All right. Perfect. Let me introduce you to our special guest today. I'm going to drop them all in at once here. We're going to introduce you to Mr. Mark Robinson from Sweet Sister Mercy, Mr. Lee Dixon from the Kevin McCoy Band, and back with us today. You never know if the contract negotiations work out. She may be the co-host of this show. Right now, we're up to $4 million and how many puppies?
No, 3,017 puppies. It's fair. Everything I say is fair.
Every day it goes up. All right, guys, we're going to jump right into this because we've got a lot of people that are tuning in to find out what your perspective is. I want to thank you, Mark and Lee, for joining me today. How you guys doing? Lee, all right?
Oh, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to see you on here. You guys are all in your little cozy studios.
I noticed I have the worst hair on here, though. That's why I'm
well, I just got out of the shower. I want it to be clean for y'all.
We appreciate that.
Yes,
I saw you flipping it a minute ago, Lee. So
trying to catch up with that guy on the right-hand side there. On the
oh my gosh, Mark's been growing that for 72 years, I think. Right. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's say hi to a couple people real quick checking in. Hello, Glenn on the YouTube channel. Jamie Minnick, thank you for joining us today. Good to see you.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Bill. Jamie. Thank you. He's looking forward to this. Jamie now says hi, everyone.
Hello.
And Steve Stein from the Times is here. Dewey has joined us also today. If you're out there, guys, say hi to us. We'd love to hear from you. And hi, Jill. Somebody's dog's barking. There we go. All right.
Promise you.
All right. I want to start here. Now, Lee, you and I have had a conversation about this before, and you said something about band etiquette, and I'd like you to touch on that if you could, because, you know, it seems as though it could be fairly easy to go in with the wrong approach and never get booked in a venue, you know?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And just to put something out there, first of all, it's the approach. I think you're humble until you get finished with sound check and go on stage. You know what I mean? And I think that you have to treat yourself as such and be, you're there to provide a service as well. Hi, Terry. And I think the thing is that you have to, Karis had mentioned, and I listened to it a couple times to try and kind of catch up. I didn't get to hear it live, but she'd mentioned about, participating in the jam and things like that. And I want to say, like, back in the day if I had the opportunity to go to a venue and show that venue what my band was capable of, yeah, absolutely. Give me an opportunity to come down there and play a few songs. I mean, I think anybody can do it. A demo can do, I think if you have a situation where you can go and perform live for that place, that's going to speak volumes to that. So, and I've seen people post about venues wanting them to come play a few songs. I think that's great. I think that's
what better opportunity than the Bell and the Bear too, because that crowd on a Thursday night, man, that's a who's who of the music community. And if you can play in front of them, you never know what venue owner might be sitting in the audience that night's going to say, wow, I want to book those people. So
yeah.
I think that's a plus.
It's a showcase all its own.
Right.
So Lee, that's your thought process then is it's okay with you to go play a few songs. I know a lot of people kind of poo-poo the open mic nights sometimes, and they say, look, it's it's like just getting free music and I'm not playing for free. I've seen those threads all over the interwebs. And I get the philosophy because I think some people do turn it into maybe some venue owners turn it into a too many nights a week type of thing to get free entertainment. And I get that people would be concerned in the music community about it. What's your take on that? How should it be done often? I know you've played open jams and mics before.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's
host one.
What's that? I did host one. Yeah. I hosted one at Jimmy B's for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And that was, we were in a situation where it was during COVID and we were itching to get out and play with some other human beings so bad that we wanted to do that. And I thought I would pick Monday night because a lot of people would be off. So, and I know that Jimmy B's hired some people from coming out and seeing them do that. So I thought it was a good opportunity for some bands to come out and be showcased. I think it's golden. I think it's absolutely priceless to be able to go into a venue and plug in your guitar and play some songs for the person that does the booking there. I mean,
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense to me. It does. Mark, what's your take on that, man? I know you guys have played the jam, but that's where I first got introduced to Sweet Sister Mercy.
It's the whole situation's special. Open jam and mic nights are one thing all its own. Obviously, the COVID brung on a whole different mindset on how you approach things. And Karis, God love her, opened up her venue to continue, what was going on as far as open mic nights and that kind of stuff. But I don't know, it's compiled. It's what we're talking about special. This is special. It's a little bit different than most mic nights, in my opinion. We start talking about the jam. It's different, in my opinion, because it's special. But I don't know, man. It's a great opportunity, like Lee said, as far as like if you get back and strip it down and leave the COVID and everything else out of the way, and you strip it down. If you get an opportunity to play for somebody for a venue, we call it showcases. We used to call it showcases, depending on the situation. If you get a chance to showcase your talent, your band, you have that opportunity. Somebody's giving you that opportunity, and you can take it and you can do it. Do it. You got to. To me, it's a given. I mean, how can you pass it up? And again, back to Karis and the open jam, keeping it open during the COVID. I mean, it's became something special. It's a whole something special. Yes, it's something that's special. That's a whole special, unique situation.
Well, yeah, and Mark, before we go on, I got to give you a big props. Give Mark a woohoo for the shameless plug logo in the background for Sweet Sister Mercy there.
Mark.
Yes, that's a good one. Look at this. That's where he makes the magic happen. And just to let you know, guys, Mark's going to be joining me on the show with some of his cohorts in Sweet Sister Mercy next Wednesday as well. And we're going to introduce something to you that they've been working on in the studio for a long time. So it's going to be a bunch of fun. I'll get that shameless plug in again before the
it's always about business. It's about business.
Karis, what's your take on this, Karis, real quick before we move to the next question?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of jam. Are you asking what do I think about it? I think it's a missed opportunity not to get on stage at some of these jam sessions. I mean, if it's a bar that's having 2 or 3 open mics a week, well, okay, I can understand that. But if it's once a week and you know that there's tons of people there and tons of bar owners, and I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm there. And if you're trying to get booked, it would probably be a smart idea to come.
That's the key.
It's like almost like an interview. We all have to interview for these jobs, and I'm not saying it's different.
No, it's a job interview. It's a job interview.
But my crowd, if they like it, then you're already ahead of the game, because it's about.
I watch you watch that very closely.
Very closely.
Because there's been bands that have gone up there and play, and musicians that have played that you've heard like bad stories about. And I know they've come in, they've played the jam, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, the crowd loves them. And they weren't as bad as some people might have said or whatever. And then that's a great opportunity for people to get in there. And you've got a very open mind with that. I know you do. You give a lot of people benefit of the doubt.
I've overheard a lot of people say they're like, I'm not going in there. I don't play for free. It's about the money. I was like, well, okay, well then go get money somewhere else. I mean, why are you playing music? Like, music is not as, I don't know.
It's about the money.
I have a very strong opinion about that I'm going to save for another hot topic.
Well, and one thing I'll say too, and I'm going to give this word to the musicians that are watching, and we're going to have a lot of musicians watching this show. One thing, if you go to a jam and it's jammed with people and you don't get up there to play, don't get all pissy and throw a fit and walk out, because it's guaranteed you're never going to play again if you do that. And I've seen them stomp out the door at the bell, and it's like, dude, you got here at 9 o'clock and you're expecting them to stop the world so you can get up there and play when there's a list of 70 people that want to play tonight. And it's crazy.
It's usually the ones that stomp out like a child and make the biggest scene that are always not necessarily the musicians we want anyways. You know what I mean? Like,
kind of works out.
I find like some of the best, exactly, Mary. Like, so I find the best musicians that are up there have the least amount of ego. And that has seemed to be true all the way down. And nobody wants to work with an ego. Oh my goodness. Nobody wants to work with an ego. I don't care how good you are.
No musician wants to work with an ego.
No.
But yet they do. Yet they do. All right, Lee Dixon. Here's where we're going to steer this. I want this to go in a direction today. I want people to hear some of the struggles you may have run into in your career as a musician getting booked in venues. And, Karis had her side last week with, and I don't want to call it sides because it's not like a dividing line, but she gave the venue perspective. Let's get the musician perspective on some frustrations that may happen out there when you're trying to get booked somewhere.
Well, when nobody's heard of you, it's tough to kind of get your foot in the door. If there's not some sort of an opportunity for you to go in and kind of show your band off to them, it's tough. And not all club owners are as attentive to getting back with bands as what some other ones are. And I agree with Karis when she had brought up the 3 was kind of her number for that. There's a way to message a bar owner, a club owner, or a booking person. And but the frustrating part is getting kind of your name recognized to them when you've never played there before. And I think that I've kind of, what I've always done is, I was very interested in playing Bell and the Bear, and even before I'd even been there, the social media is so good. It's a very recognizable stage. So as I got on there and I'm kind of looking at their posts, I'm liking the posts and enjoying what they're posting so much that it was trying to give me a badge as being like one of the people that was on there a lot. And I think there's something to that. I think when you get involved with a club's social media and you're liking posts and commenting and participating in their social media, then when you drop a line to that venue owner, the powers that be, they've heard of you. That helps.
Absolutely.
I've seen you post. I've seen you share my stuff. And it's about establishing that relationship with that venue. We're all family, for the most part. And we're all trying to have a great time. And if we can earn a living doing that, that's the name of the game. So that the frustrating part is connecting with the right person. But I think if you do your due diligence and your homework and you input a little bit of effort, that takes a lot of that roadblock out of the equation.
Perfectly. Thank you. Everybody take a chance. Read Nicholas's post there, or comment. It's too much to put on the screen because it covers everybody up, but it's big. Check that out because he's got a great perspective on that as a musician as well. So thank you for that, Nicholas. We appreciate your input today. And Mark, frustrations you've run into out there in the booking world. Why? And I know you and Mickey do a lot of that booking. You guys are out there working on that with the band. What do you run into sometimes that hits the fun button, so to speak?
Well, I'm not going to lie. As far as Sweet Sister Mercy goes, this incarnation with me and Mickey in this band, honestly, we've been pretty fortunate. There's not been too many walls that we've ran into, so to speak. And the only thing I can say, every venue's different as far as booking goes. And touching on what Karis said a while ago about business, I was going to make a point. This is like a job interview. when you want to try to get booked in a venue, it's a job interview. You need to understand what the job's about, which means, is this venue playing the music that you play? Are you going to cater to their crowd? You need to know what's all about. Contacts, find out who the contact person is. Every venue is different. Sometimes it's word of mouth that'll get you into a venue. Sometimes they want music. Sometimes they want MP3. Sometimes they want video. It all depends on, every situation's different. Again, fortunately for Sweet Sister Mercy and in this incarnation, we've been pretty, fortunate. Over the years, different bands that I've been in, it's you run into walls, like Lee touched on. You can be playing music for 10 years and you show up at a venue with a new band, with a new incarnation of something, and they don't know who the heck you are, excuse my French. It's tough to break down that wall and that barrier to get yourself in the door to even get a shot. And we all want that shot. We all want to play. It comes down to love of music. We all love music. That's why we're doing this. We're not making it rich by no means. The days of being in my opinion, the days of being a rock star millionaire, it's done. You can only, work toward a certain level, but it's a grind. Regardless, it's a grind, and you just got to try to knock down that wall, whatever that wall is in front of you, whatever it entails.
Joe Coles, that's a great point. Thank you for that. I see that a lot. I see certain venues that are just rotating once every couple of months, and it's the same 3 or 4 bands or 8 bands or whatever they're doing. So yeah, that does tend to get interesting. But I guess all I can say about that is if it works for them, I guess it's working. If they're doing that, it obviously is making them some money or doing something, or they wouldn't be doing those same type of bands.
Well, it's a business. But it's another thing I need to make a point to. I want to make a point, make sure I make this point clear. It doesn't matter what level you are in. If you're starting as a new band, as a new musician, you're 17, 18, 19 years old, you're trying to get in the groove. One word of advice I can give you, this is a business. No matter how you think it is, you might think it's a fun weekend thing. You want to go party and have your friends come down and watch you jam. Well, guess what? The awakening moment is the person that you're trying to get hired by. That's a business. Everything they do is business. It's money. It's the bottom dollar. They're making business decisions. So you have to understand from ground zero, despite where you're at in this music climb in your career, it's always going to come back to business and about money and about being proper and being kind, like we talked about last week. Karis talked about last week. It's business, and you got to approach it that way and be respectful and be kind. I mean, otherwise you're gonna, what's the term of burning bridges? Word gets around. These bar owners talk to each other. They know who's who. This is a small town. We talked about that before, musicians, and I heard some of the comments about some of these bands being disrespectful, your loss and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, that's just plumb awful. And I always tell Mark, I always tell musicians this: you're going to meet, and it's an old cliche, but you're going to meet the same people going up the ladder that you meet coming back down.
Yep.
And you may be on top out there rocking out, making the biggest bucks there ever were in local music or whatever. Someday you're going to be humble, hopefully, and you're going to be sitting playing an open jam somewhere with a guitar, like Dave Moody, who's out there on tour right now, with a big, huge tour. And Daniel Laverde, we mentioned on the last show, who's out touring, with Jeff Tate from Queensryche and all those things. But yet they come down there and they're humble enough to sit and play and enjoy a night doing a jam or something.
I was going to say
Lee.
real quick that I don't want to put the cart out of the horse, but I mean, to me, it's one thing, and we're talking about how to get your foot in the door, I think, and get booked for a venue. But to me, the true art in that is getting booked back at that venue. You know what I mean? Why does the club want to have you back? Number one, did you sound good? Were you respectful if you were too loud? Karen does a thing. She did a thing with us where she said, hey, do you want us to start at 8:30? Well, 8:30, we'll see how the vibe is. And you've got to roll with that. Like, I don't know exactly what she meant by what the vibe was, but I learned. And if we were too loud, you got to turn down. Are you promoting your show? Because, man, and that goes both ways. I mean, I'm sure Mark can attest to this. I mean, there's venues that don't promote. I mean, and as a band that's established, I mean, I'm an established band. And I think that we're going to be more attracted to a venue that does promote as well, because it's a machine that has to work together. So like Mark said, being kind, being respectful, having the bar's back, rolling with the vibe of how the crowd is and things like that. I think a club owner wants to know that when you come in, that things are taken care of. And that's going to take a lot of weight off their shoulders and allow them to do something else like grow the bar business. And so I think getting booked back, that's the thing.
Joe Coles, man, that's a great statement. More doors are open with pleas than keys. And that's a hell of a good statement. Thank you for that, Joe. That's a great comment as well. We've got a lot of pro musicians on here today, guys, besides us talking and all those things. And a lot of people who've been out there on the road, they've done things. They know what makes this tick. And you said a word there, Lee, and I want to throw that out again. Talking about the machine, because we talked last week. It was a two-way street. And Marianne just commented a minute ago, having a good following. Yes, the band needs to bring people. But if the venue relies only on the band to bring people, and normally on a Saturday night they'd have the same guy at the bar talking to the bartender and that'd be it, then somebody's failing there too. And I want to say that out loud. I mean, I'll probably get some hate for that. But you've got to have your crowd that comes to your venue too to see these bands, you know?
Personally speaking, if a venue is not promoting on a daily basis of what they have at their bar and their bands, then they've already failed, in my personal opinion. They're the reason that they have so many empty bar seats, in my personal opinion. Because if you don't care, then why the heck should anybody else care? You know, if you're not going to try, why should anybody else try? I also want to mention that, I know that I'm guilty of like not always responding to messages. Hence why I always say message me at least 3 times. But I also think, and sometimes it will take me like 4 months to get back to somebody just because I'm not booking at that moment. So I'm not, when you have 10 million things to do, I know it's a bad excuse, but when you have a lot of things to do, I don't necessarily get back to the bands immediately, and I would wait. And it's something I should probably work on. But
you got to stock the bar first.
I think a lot of people, unfortunately, and I can see why they would take it personally and get offended by it. But I think patience is key as well in this industry, because there's one, if you're trying to get into one venue, there's one venue in like 100 bands trying to get into that one venue. And I had an incident, somebody was pretty nasty to me on a comment that I posted the other day and he made the comment saying, about my page getting hacked. And they're like, oh, I like the new owner because they actually return my messages. I thought,
you're not getting booked.
I've seen that.
Oh my God.
I had already booked them twice.
Make
Their
sure
band played at the Jam on a Thursday, 4 songs, booked them for a gig, and then they canceled their gigs 3 days before their gig.
You make sure you inbox just those people's names.
So these guys are phenomenal musicians, so I'm not taking that away from them. But I was like, you've already been booked and you're still bitching? Like, I mean,
well, there's so many personalities. Mark, are you falling out every time? What's going on with you, my friend?
I freaking have cords around my feet. I'm trying to get rid of them.
So there's so many musicians out there who really are caring, giving people. They jump in anytime you need anything. They play benefits. They do all this stuff.
Right.
I mean, Lee, you guys just played a benefit over the weekend, I saw. And I mean, you guys do those kind of things all the time. And I know Mark's done the same thing.
Yes,
and Karis, if anybody knows benefits, it's you and I. I mean, we've done a lot of them.
Yeah.
And those benefits are good exposure thing. And I hate the term play for exposure. So for years, a lot of venue owners use that term. Well, we want you to come in and play for free for exposure. We'll give you the tips for the night or what. No, I don't like that term because it's exposure means you get to play on their stage. They compensate you for it, and you compensate them by having a crowd and keeping a crowd. I mean, it's that two-edged sword kind of. What's that? I didn't hear you.
Tim Barnhorst's comment is, it's not always about being the best band on.
I'm behind in my comments, so I'm looking here. We've got a lot of them. Brian from Party Punch, thank you for that. He's curious about what everybody's options are. Band not booking a club direct competitors to maintain exclusivity. Oh boy, that's an all day talk. That's another hot topic day there probably.
What is that? curious
a
what
whole
you
different.
for a band not. Okay.
There are bands who are asked by owners not to play the venue's competition because of they want them and only them to book there. And I just put something on my page that said, I'm not here to compete with anyone. I hope we all succeed. That's kind of what the mentality ought to be out there, I think. But
I personally am one of those people that think the complete opposite, that more bars help more bars. Like there is no competition. There's literally no, you got to concentrate on what you're doing. And that bar is going to, the more music venues we have, the more musicians we have, and the more bands that we have, and the more ideas each other music venue should get. I think that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got to say something on that as well, too, if I can have a moment. My
yeah,
train of thought, and I might piss people off with this.
Go
My
ahead.
train of thought is that, and I'll be honest with you, I've got some stories, but yeah, I've got some video of that happening. But no, the thing is, my response to that is, are we the only country band you're going to book here?
Right. Right?
I mean,
Fair
I
enough.
can't go,
that's great. I mean, that's a good, valid response, I think, isn't it?
yeah, and I think it's. I mean, I think you got to be smart. I think if you're playing, in the same area Friday night as you are Saturday night, that's probably not the smartest thing to do. We've all accidentally done that, and you're trying to get in somewhere, you're trying to book, you're trying to work out your schedule. They need somebody, things like that. But when you have to split your people from Friday and Saturday, they're not all typically going to come out to both. So I think it's really kind of nice to be strategic and try to spread that out. But I think there's some club owners that get downright mad about you playing other bars in that general vicinity.
Heath Bowling, thank you for that comment. That was good. He was talking about another topic, which is canceling gigs and things. Go ahead.
I think Lee is spot on with that. I'm one of those people that I don't think it benefits the bar or the band to book. If there was a music venue, like just a couple, like a mile or two down the road from me, I'm going to ask that I book you on a different weekend, because your whole goal is to get rebooked. And if people have a choice, in the area, which ones they're going to go to, we've already kind of lost about 20% of those people. So it's just not good business to do that. However, I would never in a million years tell a band that they can't go play. I want them to go play everywhere and anywhere, so that way they too can build their following, and they too can get better at what they do. I can get better at what I do. And then when we come together, we make this epic team. So I think a lot of venue owners, and I'm sorry if I'm going to get a lot of hate here.
You will.
Haters are going to hate.
There's a lot of ego there, and there's a lot of laziness there, and they're relying on the bands to fix the problems that they already have. And it's not the band should have respect about, it's a mutual respect, and they should understand that it's a business for both, and maybe not book right down the road. But a venue owner has absolutely no right to tell a band not to do that. And if you feel like you're losing business because of that, no, you're losing business because of your lack of self-business, of doing it yourself.
Amen. Absolutely.
Self-promoting.
Agree.
And the immortal John Taffer, who does Bar Rescue, to quote him, bands don't put bucks in the cash register, customers do. And customers stay because bands are good and entertaining and all those things. So it is a definite two-way street,
Yep.
about that. The band obviously keeps the customers, and you've all seen it. You've been to venues, when somebody gets up there and starts playing, and after 3 songs, the venue looks like a vacuum got turned on. People run out the door, and a lot of time what I see on that is the lack of preparation. That's a whole nother show in itself too. And having in your mind, and I think last week, it might've been Heath that said it, but you got to know your venue.
Yes.
And when you're booking, you got to know your venue.
Yes.
Yes, and Mark's the house band at the Blue Note now.
Yes.
I give him hell about that all the time.
Yes,
but
are.
There's
I
a
love that
reason.
for you, Mark, by the way.
Thank you.
There's a reason the Blue Note chooses Sweet Sister Mercy to open all those big shows they have, because
they're smart.
they do a consistent job, you
They have
know,
great
and
taste in music.
Thank you.
Yeah.
they really do.
Thank you.
Guys, we've got about, let me see here. We got about 5 minutes to wrap this up. So what I want to do is I'm going to start with you, Lee. I'm going to throw this out. I'm going to ask you guys to give any musicians that are watching today, especially some of the newer ones that are out there, your best tips for getting booked in a venue. Just a short little soundbite if you can.
Like Catfish just said, go in there in person, introduce yourself to them, send them a Facebook message or on Instagram, support their social media and get your name out there to them. Be consistent, be polite, be respectful, and don't be afraid to go out there and show them what you got.
Thank you, Lee. That's perfect. And I'm trying to get all your comments. Some of those that are like 6 feet long on the screen, I can't put them up because it blocks everybody's view of who's talking. But please, guys, if you're watching, go back and read these comments. There's some excellent comments today. Mark, your thoughts on that?
Real quick, yes. Again, this is a business. No matter how you look at it, it's a business. Look at it, approach it that way. It's also a job interview. Dress the part, look the part, know what the job is. Don't go try to get a job at a venue when your band has no business being there. What I mean by that is you're playing a totally different genre of what that band is that venue is supporting. Make sure you know aware of your surroundings. Again, like Lee said, be respectful. Like Kara said, contact them a couple times, wait a little bit, go back. Don't wear them out. And again, if they contact you back and tell you that you might not be a great fit, telling them that that's their loss. I don't know what to say. You're not going to get booked.
Yeah, my message on that to Karis, if it was the fourth time, would have been, hey, I know you're busy. I'm just keeping my name out there, you know, just keeping it fresh in your mind.
Please remember me.
Exactly. Make a joke. Let them know. We know you're busy.
That would probably work.
Yeah. Just don't be a smart ass.
Right.
Yeah, when you say you're lost, this is what happens in the mind of a venue owner.
Yeah, guess what?
Right here. Yeah, it just exploded their mind. They're done, and they're not going to do anything with you. And guys, there's so many great comments. We've had so many viewers today. This is awesome. And the hot topic thing we're going to do every Tuesday, and I will let the cat out of the bag that for most of them, Karis will be with me, and I don't want to pin her to the turntable, so to speak, yet. But she's going to be here.
Oh, I'm in.
Sweet sister Mercy.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Our fellow, like Lee and Mark, are probably two of my favorite people to work with, like their bands and in general. So, and they have two of some of the best frontmen I've ever seen. And they're easy to work with. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
From a venue's
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
From a venue's point of view, I wish everybody was like that. You guys are phenomenal.
Thank you. Sweet sister Mercy.
We think you're pretty phenomenal as well, Karis. And thank you. Thank you, Glenn, for that comment. Guys, keep the comments coming. Kevin McCoy Band. I may see the Kevin McCoy Band tomorrow night even.
I love it.
They're going to be like a stone's throw from the studio here.
We're at Bell and the Bear next weekend, though. So
yes, on the 3rd. Right.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. And I can't thank you guys enough. I wish we had an hour to talk about this, but we don't.
We love you.
So,
let's do it again.
We'll bring it up again. And here's what I'm going to ask our viewers. There's so many of you out there that would like to hear the perspective on these things. Drop some comments. If there's questions, we'll copy them down and we'll have them for the next show as we kind of take the mailbag, so to speak, and hear what you guys have to say, because there's some great comments that rolled in here and some wonderful musicians out there who weren't on the show today. And Nicholas is one of them. He's got some good stuff coming our way. So please read all these comments, folks, and learn a little bit today about the mindset of this, because it is a two-edged sword. And many times if we partner up, no matter what we're doing, and partner up in life here with these venue owners, it's going to work. And they just want somebody to be as successful as they are. And Karis, you've built a successful business.
Yes.
And she wants good bands. She wants energy in her venue.
Yeah.
And Lee, I can't thank you enough, man. You always are spot on your perspective. I appreciate it.
I agree with that.
I have you guys. The utmost respect for all of you. Mark Robinson the same way. And guys,
I love Mark Robinson.
Support these bands. If you haven't seen Sweet Sister Mercy, you haven't seen Kevin McCoy Band or Lee when he's out there doing some solo stuff and all that, please check them out. They're well worth seeing, and go in and say you saw them here first. Karis, anything else you want to leave everybody with today?
Well, I love you all.
Oh, that was sweet. How was that sweet?
I love you all.
Oh, how do I mute him?
Right.
How do I mute that shameless plug? All right. Thank you all, guys. We appreciate you being here. This has been All Around Town Radio's Hot Topic Tuesday. Stay with me, guys, for a few minutes after we're off the air here, if you will.
Yes.
We'll catch you next time. I will be back tomorrow. We're going to do Live at 5 tomorrow, featuring who's playing out the best musicians in the tri-state and where they're playing. We're going to do it a day early on Wednesday so you can get your Wednesday night pre-Thanksgiving fix in, and going to roll into all next week. So thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here. Bye.